Welcome to our pilot episode of Smuggled Truth with my buddy Derek Gagliano in here, and we have a very special guest today. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Roger Reaves. How are you,
Well,
sir?
I'm fine. Glad to be here, Aaron. It's been a long time.
It's wonderful to have you back. I want to start this with the scripture. The book of Proverbs, chapter 27:10 says, "Do not forsake your friend or your father's friend." And so we're not going
Didn't know it said that. Now I know. I thought I knew the Bible, but your father's friend. How about that?
And so we have a man who's a really good friend to my dad, not just in his life, even though they had not that long of a relationship. It was a strong one, and they had a unique bond. But also, he's been as much as a friend or more in Dad's death, which I appreciate a lot. There's been opportunities for you where you could have said things negative about Dad because he did. Face it. He did bring you into the trouble, though he tried his best to shield you in that with the agreement he made. But you worked with him. You could have negative feelings about him, and you don't, and that just means a lot to me.
Well, thank you, Aaron. I I loved your dad. Me and him we were buddies. We was cut out of the same cloth. I'm telling you, we did.
Scary.
Absolutely we were. I was always saying, if Barry I was in them prison, I said he'd have flown one of them helicopters in here backwards and got me out.
Amen. Yes, he would.
So he would have, and he didn't ask any question. He just got in the plane, did a click, 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 and away we go.
Yeah.
So, dang.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of your interviews that people have seen, but I don't know if the people that might be my audience may have seen it. Could you walk me through and take me back to the time when you met Dad, when he was just getting out of the prison in, was it La Ceiba, Honduras?
He was in Honduras, yes. We got on the plane. I'd been up in the mountain looking for a runway and looking for a place, and all our clothes, Mari and the children was with me, and they got muddy, and we put them in the laundry, and of course they didn't come back on the right time, and so we was on a flight to New Orleans, and I told Mari, just go ahead. I'll go to the laundry and see if I can get them. It's better for you to go with the children, and I can get standby ones better. So I went, and we got the clothes, and I got a big pile of them in the morning, and then an old raggedy car and an old driver, and we going back to the airport, and I just gave him $100. Hurry, man, hurry, and he just blew the horn faster. Then we got to the airport, and the airplane was taxiing out. It was on the tarmac. And I ran around with that big pile of clothes on my back and the plastic, and brand new 727. And he put the nose wheel went down. He's put on the brakes, and he put the steering wheel out for me. And I come running towards it, and he kind of pulled it back up and started the airplane off again, like a hitchhiker's going to pick you up.
Yeah.
And, of course, it done got funny. And then he stopped, and I saw Murray's face in the cockpit. And that time you could go up there. And so he's a handsome young pilot. He's just laughing. So he let him out, and I got on. And when I got on with the car, the whole plane gave me a clap, 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 clap. And I went on back about halfway where my seat was, and my little girl was sitting there in the aisle, and so she sit over and sit by your dad. And I sat down on the outside, and we took off, and I thought, he's a handsome fellow. I bet he's something to do with FBI, the CIA, or something down here. He didn't look like a riffraff. Let's just say that you could have been on there.
He had a presence.
So, pardon?
He had a presence.
He had a presence, certainly. He just I like clear blue eyes. Well, maybe we nodded to one another, but I didn't trust him a bit. So, plane took off, and the wheels came up, and then I guess we got up 5,000 feet or so, and the little click, and my little girl's about 9 years old. She said, "What was that, Dad?" I said, "He just turned on his autopilot." Barry reached over and he said, "You fly these things?" I said, I got some hours, sir. My name's Barry Seal. He shook hands with me, and he got talking about it. He said, "He just got out of prison this morning." I thought, yeah, You just want me to talk. So he talked, and he chatting, he was friendly, and he just didn't. And so we got to New Orleans. Of course, I certainly didn't believe him. No way did I believe him. I am calling, and you get somebody on the airplane talking about it.
It looked like a setup.
Yeah, it looked like, okay, you two just too convenient, but well, they knew where my seat was going to be, too, before I got there, I reckon. And so when he got off, there you were, and your mama and grandma and all of them crying and hugging on to him, and he's telling the truth, Mari. So I said...
Yeah, that would have been hard to fake that scene.
Oh, you couldn't. You couldn't have not done it. So Mari wrote our phone number and address on it, and I said, "Barry, come out to California. I have some work for you." So in a couple of weeks, he flew out. So I'm here. So that's how we got started.
And do you remember the first? I know you. I don't. I have vague memories of this as a child. I don't. When you came to our house once or twice.
I come to your house several times. Yes.
Were we there? Were the kids there? My mom.
You was there, yeah, and your mom, and we went places. I don't know. I remember you getting a whipping.
Oh, really?
I didn't see it, but you was acting up in the back seat with your sisters or something.
We're gonna have to edit that.
They ain't going to edit that at all. So, and he just kept telling you, and he didn't tell you much, and so he's pulled in front of a church, big old Cadillac. He just said, "Come on, Aaron," and y'all went around behind the church. He said, "Now you know this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you."
See,
He was just a little fella.
and that's not true when parents say that.
No, it's not
No,
true.
it's not true.
I don't even know that I don't even know that he touched you.
Yeah, he probably did.
Probably didn't, but he just took you around there, and you came back and you behaved yourself.
Well, it works.
So that was just beautiful, just love. That's all it was. Yes.
And so I haven't heard you go too in depth on this in other interviews. If you have, I missed it. Take me back to when I know the story about him, showing you the plane and how well he could fly. But to the very first load y'all did, how did it go from there? After you decided, this guy can fly, he's an ace. He's going to work for me. How'd y'all do the first how'd y'all arrange it?
Well, the deal was, at that time I was refueling in Belize because I was flying a Twin Beach in on about 1,000-mile range. Mm-hmm. So I had there close to Orange Walk in Belize, and so Barry flew down in another plane and met me, mm-hmm. and I gave him the load, and he flew it on up, and then I flew over to Jamaica where I kept my plane and left it there. So that's how he did the first load.
Did you know? Because he was meeting you halfway and doing the American leg of the trip, if you will. So
yes.
Did y'all discuss how he was bringing what he was doing with the load once he got back to America? Did you connect him with other people that worked with you, or did he bring his own guys to do that? Like, how did y'all arrange that part?
He did all of that.
Okay.
I paid him $2,000 a kilo to do that.
And how many keys was the first load?
300.
Okay.
So he made $600,000. And but he would not land it anywhere except Mena, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And he told me he had it paid off.
Yeah.
And he said every time I pay him, I got to go see the governor.
What would you say 600,000 is in today's money?
I don't know.
5 times that probably.
Yeah, at least 4 or 5 times. So $2 or $3 million. Yeah.
So and then how soon did it take? Did y'all increase the load size? Was that just a smaller load to test?
No, that's what they was putting in with me. Okay. That's all they put in. My first load I ever did was 300 kilos, and they was superstitious. Gotcha. And I said, "Man, this plane hauled a ton. Come on, put some in there." Yeah. No, senor. Yeah. Buena suerte, 300. 300 is good luck for you. Gotcha. So they were superstitious, and that's all they'd put on me. So. I don't know how many loads we did. I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 loads at a Belize, and Escobar and them. I went to see them, and it was getting further and further back south towards the Amazon, back way down there.
Your pickup point.
Pickup point. They kept going deeper in the jungle until they down near Ecuador. So I said, it's just too far. Yeah. So they built longer runways for me and all what they could do. And then on one load, they put a fellow in there named Benjamin and said, go where he tells you to go. And I was flying that Aero Commander, the 690. And we landed at a military base in Nicaragua. Okay. And went in there, met the general and a couple of people, and they said, land here anytime you want.
Remember his name, the general?
No, I don't remember his name. Seemed like it was a fellow Vaughn that was involved.
That was the Federico Vaughn was an aide to one of the top commandantes in Nicaragua. He was involved when Dad took the pictures.
I think he was Escobar's. He was one made me friendly, but they was some high priced some stars on some shoulders there.
I heard some things later on, and I can't verify it if it's fact, but that because Federico was in a lot of the pictures that Dad took with Escobar and them loading the plane, which the pictures that got him killed. And I heard later that the government had framed it as Federico Vaughn was, an assistant or whatever to Thomas Borge. I think it was one of the top commandantes there. But I heard later on that they said Federico Vaughn may have actually been a double agent working with the CIA, and that they kind of helped stage that to embarrass the Nicaraguan government.
Very well could have been. He looked like that kind of a person.
Gotcha.
Yes, could have very well. You just can't tell. But he was there, and he was very well had influence.
Yeah.
So your daddy couldn't believe that we could land at a military base. He just couldn't believe it. And he said, "Well," I said, "you can't get caught in Colombia, and you can't get caught in Nicaragua."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, I can't get caught in Mena, Arkansas."
Yeah.
So I thought, well, we got a ticket to ride, buddy.
There you go.
So we bought those Panther conversions. I bought him 4 of them. That's all he wanted. I don't know why he wanted so many of them. I guess he kept trading them as they would get hot or something.
Gotcha.
Had them tanked, so then I quit flying. I just
But one thing, Dad, every plane he owned, he had 2 planes identical, and he would have the tail numbers changed. So
okay, that's probably why it was. I didn't know why.
That's
But whenever I was arrested and getting ahead of myself there, he paid Maury every penny for those planes, every penny, and comforted her. People said terrible, bad things about me in the grand jury, and she read that. Where one woman said that I had my girlfriend, high school girlfriend, had twins and twin babies, and and I didn't support them, and I didn't have a girlfriend. I was barefoot in high school. So you get such, Mary, what in the world? And your daddy gave her a hug. Said, Mary, they'll say anything when they get in that grand jury just to make themselves look good.
That is true.
Oh, they will.
It's true. I've experienced it.
I call it the 4-slap confession. You know what a 4-slap confession is?
A what?
A 4-slap confession.
slap?
Yeah. They slap him one time to get him started talking, then you have to slap him 3 times to shut him up.
Well, I can see that.
Yeah,
See, I want to back you up a little bit. So, I've heard you talk about before. Whenever, so Dad was meeting you in Nicaragua, and then y'all were at some point you were flying. Before that, you were flying it into the Lacombe, Louisiana, right?
I was flying in Louisiana. Yes.
And didn't Dad meet you? Didn't he meet you there at the beginning to unload?
No, he that's where he the one load there that I brought up. When I started working with the Escobar, I was working with another fellow before that.
Okay.
And they put that guy. I called him.
Another American?
No, they put this Ronaldo. We called him. He's actually he's the one that I come up here to pull the trigger. I believe he might have another name, but I knew him as Ronaldo.
Okay, yeah, because the guy that actually pulled the trigger was his last name was Cruz. I think there was a group of guys that came first that were wanting to kill our entire family. Is the way it was told to me by Bernardo Vasquez, one of the inmates that's one of the guys in prison that killed Dad, and he said that him and the other hitman Kumbamba actually paid them to leave because Escobar didn't want the whole family killed because of the he didn't want that
political background.
Yeah, he didn't want the blowback from that, and that they were here and they were like, we're just going to kill everyone, and they said, well, look, he said, I asked him, how'd y'all make him leave? He said, we just paid him, asked him to go away, because they were trying not to do that, so. See, I thought the thing in Lacombe, I thought Dad was meeting you there and unloading stuff at first. And when you got stranded at the New Orleans airport?
That's how that happened. That fella, but no, that fella got in the plane in Belize with your dad.
Okay.
With that load, and he was making sure he had a Mac 10 right to my head. I had a lot of clay in the. When I took off, it got up in the wheel well, and I couldn't get the wheels up. And I said, "Man, we got the lot." And boy, he put the gun to my head. No, Louisiana.
That's the one where you got stuck at the New Orleans airport.
No, that was another time.
Yeah, that
was before that.
Okay, was Dad working?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't working.
He wasn't working with you. Okay, I was mistaken. I thought Dad was meeting you in
no,
I was airport first.
We should have been him. Me. That was a rough night.
You want to tell the story? It's a great story.
Tell the story. I was coming up out there, old Commander, 300 miles an hour with 300 kilos behind me, whistling the Dixie.
Heading to Lacombe, right?
Pardon?
Heading to the Lacombe airport?
I don't know where I was heading to. I went so many different places. I probably out there on the highway on the Interstate 10.
Okay.
They had it blocked off, and that was my favorite spot. And then I also had it, I can't remember the little airport out there. What's it? St. Tam.
Yeah, that's the Lacombe airport. Yeah,
I probably might have been.
Right outside of Slidell.
Yeah, I like those people. So he just got fogged in. Just the temperature and dew point come together, and it was from Dallas to Atlanta, fogged in. I mean, I didn't want to go anywhere like that anyway, so I was hanging up at 300 miles an hour And I put it down low and come at 500 miles an hour over the deck, and I just came up, and it was soup. You couldn't see nothing. It's like he was underwater. And I came up, and full moon shining, beautiful. If I'm up 500,000 feet, it was clear. And what in the world am I going to do? If I had a parachute, I'd have bailed out.
Yeah.
But I didn't have one. And so the only thing I could do to save my life was go out there and get on this glide slope and come down the international runway there in New Orleans. And I bounced down that runway and got stopped and sat there all night long. I'd walk, there's a mile to the other end of the runway and a mile back. I'd park right in the middle.
How much of a load on the plane?
300 kilos.
Sitting at the airport in New Orleans.
And it's turned on the ATIS, and it was like, airport closed, zero.
How many prayers did you say that night?
Hey, no telling. My clothes is wet from sweating. And I walked back and forth. So the next morning, about 8 o'clock, it's still 0 everywhere. And so I couldn't stand any longer. I thought a little truck, a little guard or something, drive down this runway, just anything, I'd get a life sentence right here. So I cranked it up and took off right down that runway. And I went over there and I could see the little runway I wanted to. I guess I circled around for another hour or two. And about I run out of fuel. Red light flashing, and I went in. And I said, that's the last load I'm going to ever do. I was through with it. Yeah. I hung up my guns, but that was the last time, and that was the last one I did do.
I can understand.
So it done scared me bad enough. It ain't worth that. I had enough money anyhow.
I had to spend about a week in a hotel in Laredo, Texas, with a big load of pills from Mexico because the driver got in some trouble coming down and couldn't bring them back, and just that was enough to drive me crazy for a week.
Yeah, tough on you. Yes, sirree.
So, Derek, you got anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, it seems like you've always had a positive outlook. Is what it seems like. Did you have to work at that, or did that come naturally?
It's just plumb natural. I'm also just a buffoon almost a lot of things, and I try to be serious sometimes, and it just comes out. Just a comedian.
Well, that's good.
But I get real serious real quick when it gets dangerous.
Yeah,
right.
But I think it helps to have I know it helps to have a pause. Here I am, 83, just jumped out of an airplane last week. So I went skydiving for my birthday.
Well, I know that Miss Maury has to have an even more of a positive outlook on life than you do to stay married to a crazy man for 62 years.
Isn't that something?
She's they don't make them like that anymore. I don't believe.
No, I tell you what, she's rare. She's a saint.
Oh yeah, she definitely earned her way in.
Yeah.
How often did y'all write each other when you were in prison?
I reckon at least every week.
Okay.
We got over 1,000 letters in trunks, yes, full of them. And government took our house, so I didn't mind stealing the little back from them. Mm-hmm. So we had a little 35-cent Daisy stamp, yellow. And Maury would put clear fingernail polish on it, and she'd mail it to me. And I'd tear it off, so all our letters have the stamp torn off. Then I'd get another envelope, and I'd get some glue and put it on the back of it and put it on again. When it got too thick, I'd shave it off. We sent that stamp back and forth for years.
Do y'all still have it?
I doubt it. But we got the letters. We got every letter we ever wrote from the time we met.
So take me back to after Dad started working with you, and you had things going. What was the most that he was carrying back for you?
He brought 500 kilos every time.
That's
every time. Yeah.
No, that was no more or less after that. Just 500 every time.
It's 500. They do it for somebody else.
Yeah.
I hired another guy, Jerry Wills, and they didn't know who I didn't let the other one, Barry, know who he was.
Do we need to take out his name?
No, he's fine. he don't mind at all. He doesn't right on stuff. He's I'll tell you a little story about him last week. You might like to know that. Okay. He's 84 years old and crippled. He got a bad hip, needs it replaced, and he's got MS, and he shakes pretty bad. Sorry. But he's lovely. Mine's there. And so my son took him down to Mexico to get a shot of cortisone in his hip. Mm. And on the way back, my son passed his passport to the girl. And, welcome back, Roger. Blah, blah. And then she passed Jerry's over. Code, code, code. She's yelling code. And they come from everywhere with guns and shotguns and bulletproof things and vests. And they had him put his hands out the window and don't touch nothing. And they put clamp. And I reached around slowly and opened the door, get on the ground. Jerry, they had the gun to his head. Get on the ground, get on the ground. He said, I can't walk. Get on the ground.
Yeah.
And they had a fit, and they were bringing people out of the cars, running them back, moving cars out of the way. They had cars backed up for a mile. Jerry was convicted of marijuana 50 years ago and served time, and it's still on the record.
Well,
What a bunch of idiots we got working for the United States government.
Marijuana's legal now, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm just talking about to have something like that and to act like that, that he was going to blow up the Trade Center or something over 100 pounds of marijuana 50 years ago.
Yeah.
It ought not to be.
They still got a bunch of crimes against children from Epstein nobody's touched yet. So while they're messing with a guy that smuggled a little weed back in the day.
Absolutely. They're never going to, they don't want to tell that on Epstein.
Yeah. They got a little too many people with some compromise.
Absolutely. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, so Dad, when y'all got going, you were paying him $1 million for the 500 kilos?
Yeah, I paid him $2,000 a kilo,
so
plus $50,000 for you know who.
Landon.
Yeah.
With, I don't know if
for Slick Willie.
There you go. That's a good one. Where they have the Arkansas
That's right.
situation. Yeah, I don't want to be Arkansas.
I was talking about that. There was before I got out, Maury, and I'm looking for. She got an email. I can't think of his name right now, but I remember it. But he was a hitman for the Clintons. He said, and said my name was on the list.
Really?
Yeah. No, I can't understand why. I never met the man, so it seems strange. But he may have been. People say things.
Yeah, I get that all the
But
time.
It was
all kind of stuff that you got to
too.
watch.
I knew him. You back yonder, but I was reading about him. He's real.
Okay. You have to give me the information later. I'll check him out too. So after Dad started working for you full time, you're paying $1 million. Whenever you went to prison and he came to Maury, paid off, bought the airplanes and everything.
Yeah.
Got you the attorney, Albert Krieger, I believe you said it was.
Right.
So after all that, did that probably what Dad kept smuggling was 500 kilos at a time with the
I'm sure he did. Yeah.
And what was he making at that point then?
Then he was making $2.5 million
every flight.
He made it all. Yeah.
Wow. That's good money.
Yeah, he cut me out. I'm going to talk to him when I get there.
I'm sure he was waiting for you to get out and settle up with you, I would think.
I hope so.
I would like to think that, yeah.
Well, anyhow, he went to work with the government, so he come to see me and says, you're under my umbrella. I'll tell you about that later.
And so, what was the question I had? So, the fat lady. So, did I know you mentioned one time when you saw the fat lady bellied in at the airport in Nicaragua? You're like, okay, I know Barry's gotten in some trouble now. Did he have the fat lady when
but I had heard something about it.
Okay, you'd heard about it. Okay.
And I'd heard also that Barry was working with the feds. So I was I really wasn't scared. I really didn't. I didn't think he'd tell on me. I mean, I wasn't too concerned about it until I saw that airplane bellied in.
Yeah.
And then I thought, Barry has done it. I knew that airplane wasn't on that runway for accident.
It's unfortunate that he felt like he had to do that, but from what I've heard, he tried his best to shield you, in his agreement.
Certainly, he made a deal that that I was under his umbrella, I'd get the same treatment. That you can keep your money and your family, just go. You get a witness protected, and go somewhere you want to. Yeah. That was the deal. So
did anyone else that you dealt with who turned on you? Did anyone else?
I never heard of it. No, I was his friend for sure.
No, I said anyone else you worked with who flipped on you. Did anybody else try to cover you like that?
Absolutely not. They buried me. 11 of them. Really? All my friends, every one of them. I got 2 babies. I just couldn't do it. I guess, and this and other. So you go.
But they didn't try to make any provisions for you?
Nothing whatsoever, no.
How did you hear about, you said you heard that he may have flipped. Who'd you find out from?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But I had heard it. I don't know where it was from, Roy Fugler or somewhere along the word. I thought that Barry might be working with.
Is that how whenever you were in jail and Dad took over everything, is that how you told me? Tell the story about Dad them owing you $3 million and Dad offered to hold back a load from the cartels to get paid. Tell that story if you would.
Well, they owed me $3,382,000.
Escobar, Ochoa, or both?
Ochoa. He was straight out. Ochoa owed it, and I told Roy Fugler, no, I'll get it when I get out. I only got to do 2 years. I didn't want Maury to take the money or my mother to take the money. I didn't know I didn't want to implement them. I always kept her completely arm's length from anything, because they'll indict the wife just to make you hurt. So I didn't do it. So I never did get the money. They never would pay me.
And so then that's what leads into the story about you going.
Yeah, I was just down there a couple of months ago. I
And
knocked on his door. He wouldn't even talk to me.
let me clarify. Right, you went to what Ochoa was it? Jorge's house.
Jorge
You went to
Ochoa.
Jorge
He's the one I
Ochoa's
worked
house.
directly for first. Yeah,
And you went and knocked on his door.
absolutely.
How many years has it been since you've seen 30?
40 years, I reckon.
And he owes you $3 million. You get out of prison and you go knock on his door. And you said what?
The pistoleros tell me to go away. And I said, no, I'm not
His
going away.
bodyguard, basically.
Pardon?
His pistolero's bodyguard, basically.
Yeah, well, the guys raking the yard and
Yeah.
all. They got the pistols under the
Yeah.
church, and so I said, no, I'm gonna sit right here on this bench till he comes out and talks to me. So I went up. There's a hamburger place, and I went up and got me a hamburger. Looked down. I was there about 3 days, and he just no please. And so I had a book where in the Kings of Cocaine where it says he owes me $5 million, and your dad's talking to him in that book. And I sent that to him, and I put this book here that I have that I wrote about what I wrote about it. And I said, you owe it. So I'm here to collect.
Is this to the pistolero or is this to
I'm telling
Jorge?
the pistolero, and I write him a letter.
So Jorge wouldn't even meet with you.
No, he wouldn't come out. And so the second or third day, he wouldn't. And that big gate, and I got a rock, and I just went on and banging on the day. Bam, bam, bam. Come out, you son of a bitch. Made me. He's run under the bed.
Would you have fought him for it if he came out?
No, I wouldn't. I'd beat the shit out of him. He had his guys there to shoot you.
Were you going to ask for interest on that money, or you just
No,
just going to settle for the
just something. Give me $1 million. Give me, whatever. It's worth $11 million in today's money.
Yeah.
And he won't talk to me, so it's just like he's just a thief.
Well, Jorge, Senor Ochoa, if you're out there listening, if you're watching Smuggled Truth, which you should be, you need to settle up with Mr. Roger and pay him his money, don't you think?
Absolutely.
He's willing to take you at a discounted rate and no interest. I mean, what a deal. Right?
Absolutely. So he's a billionaire. It wouldn't even be pocket change for him to give me $10 million.
So messages Jorge, and we'll give you Mr. Rogers' cash out.
Absolutely.
You can send it right over.
Yeah, could he get in trouble for paying you for something like that later down the road, or is that
We could make arrangements.
okay? You buy a house or something.
One gold coin, $10 million.
Do you think he's equally worried about the government there?
No, he's just not
He
talking to
just-
anybody. Said you don't talk to anybody from the past. Nobody from the past.
Well, that's
what-
convenient when you owe somebody from the past
It
$3 million.
certainly is, and even though whenever I asked him, I said, now, I would let him get up to $7 million debt to me, and then I would stop it until I'd tell you, Daddy and this Jerry to stop until they paid up some. So
Y'all done that before, where Dad or Jerry? had
we
held
did
that
all
load.
the time.
Okay,
and that was about all I'd let them get up. And
and they'd always settle up, obviously, whenever y'all
of
stopped.
course,
for
they had a pipeline. They had to send up to New York or California, and they had to wait till the money come back to pay me. Then they'd take the hundreds out.
So when they pay you, how did walk me through that process?
They just give it
brought
to
the
me
load,
and-
everything's been sent out. It's time to be paid. Somebody shows up at your house, you fly down there and meet them. How does the money transfer go?
I would go in there was a Cuban sandwich place there in Miami, I forget, and I would get in a line. I think it was on Tuesday or something for lunch every day. Long line of people, and Lito, the one or Achi.
You were living in Santa Barbara still?
No, I was in Key Biscayne.
Okay, so you were living out there.
And I'd get in line there for a sandwich, and they'd get in line, and we'd talk in that line, just in front of me and back. And then on Wednesday night, I would stay at the meet at there in Key Biscayne out on the
So
Rusty Pelican.
y'all would meet up in the line. He would tell you where to meet him on Wednesday to get with him.
No, that's where we met certain day of the week when I wanted to meet him.
Okay.
But then on Wednesday, I would meet Ochoa's sister, Marta.
Okay. That's the
Griselda.
one that was kidnapped?
Yeah, no, she was kidnapped, and later on, Griselda killed her, garroted her and her little boy, and put them in a canal down there. She was a lovely, lovely lady. I mean, a saint. And she was keeping the books for him. And it was so much money coming in till I said, all right, Marta, I can't go anymore. It's $7.5 million now. No, Roger, no, it's just $7 million. So we had our little drink, and she come in a nurse's uniform with a stethoscope in her pocket. And it'd be like after 5 o'clock, we'd have a drink, and we'd go over the books. So, no, it's 7. I said, I reckon I know it's like 7.5. And she got to thinking, she was like, no. And she said, oh, remember Lito met you at the Holiday Inn in that yellow Cadillac, and he gave you 2 boxes with $250,000 in it. I know I packed it. And that was on Friday night. Ah, yes, I'm sorry, Martha. I forgot that. Really, I am sorry. So I forgot him giving me $500,000. That's how much money was coming through us. So
So you just met up. We got cash from him wherever.
cash always, yes.
And then how would you bring when you were paying Dad? How did you bring the money to
We
him?
would meet somewhere and just switch it
In
from one-
Miami, or you?
in
Or,
Miami, yeah. I
okay.
stayed in Miami. All of it was Miami. And he had
Ever at the Omni Hotel? Because we used to stay there all the time as kids.
yeah. I remember one night Barry spent the night with us in our room.
At the Omni.
Yeah, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, we was Mari and I and a little fellow was baby Rhett. He wasn't even a year old, and
Your son Rhett.
yeah, so he we went out to dinner at La Festival restaurant. That was my favorite there in Coral Gables. That was a good restaurant. It's closed now, but we come back to the hotel. There was no more rooms. They checked around, nowhere room. I said, come on, Barry, spend the night with us. We had a big old room with 2 double beds, and it was 10, 11 o'clock at night. Your daddy got in there, had his polka dot undershorts on and his slingshot T-shirt, and he put Red up on his belly and gave him the bottle. And, ain't that good, Red? Yum, yum, yum. So we spent the night in the same hotel room there.
Dad loved kids. He loved
he did,
young kids.
So certainly that's how close we were.
And we would stay at the Omni all the time, and my mom would bring like a relative of ours, like a cousin or something that would travel with us and babysit the kids. But my brother and I, she never had to babysit us because Dad would give us $500 in quarters, and we'd go to the arcade at the little mall, the 3-story mall thing at the bottom of the
Yes,
at
I
the base of
remember
the
very
Omni.
well.
And we'd go in the arcade with $500 in quarters, and we'd be there the whole weekend. We wouldn't leave. They'd have to. They knew exactly where we were at. And I don't think we ever were able to spend all of them in the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's some good memories from there. We had a lot of good times there. Joe Stone Crabs.
Oh, yeah, good gracious. I lived in Miami about 2 years. I loved it. I still think Miami is probably the nicest city in the United States today. It looks like the Dubai of the United States. They build it.
It was built on that. It was built on the back of
absolutely. I helped them.
of y'all's industry. I wonder what the city would look like now if that cocaine boom wouldn't have hit it. You know,
I don't know, but it's certainly I mean, it's growing leaps and bounds. Everywhere you see skyscrapers and buildings going up, and out there on Key Biscayne, it's just beautiful.
Did you know the guys, the documentaries they call the Cocaine Cowboys? I'm sure you've seen those, like John Roberts and those guys. Did you
I
have?
never did see that, but I would like to see it.
Did you ever have any interaction with John Roberts or Mickey
No, I
Monday
didn't
or
have
any of them?
nobody but your daddy and this fellow Jerry out there in California. I really was. People think I know people. I didn't know anybody, and even the drivers, I never knew them. Yeah. I tried. I knew people talk. And I remember going down to Mexico talking to that guy, and he said he went, they know their tongue like rolls out on the ground, and people talk. And for you, everybody talks. I mean, maybe some of the hardest criminals in the world don't talk, but usually somebody got somebody they tell, whether it's a wife or their brother or their crime mate or whatever, they tell what's going on, and that goes on down. And Carlos Marcellus told me this. He said, look here, when you do something, that's how many knows. And when you tell one other person, that's how many knows. How many is that?
Too many.
Yeah, too many.
That's 11.
11. So Carlos Marcellus told you that?
Yeah. Huh?
How did you meet him?
I was cleaning grain ships down here in New Orleans. I had the very first hydroblasting business in the world.
About that, yeah.
And I cleaned the inside of these 1,100 tanker freighters, and I didn't carry anything. To the United States, they was putting corn and grain in dirty ships. Might not have been all that dirty, but when they got down to the bottom of the ship, it was contaminated, so they had to make the whole shipload animal feed. So the United States had to pay in the world court $7 billion to China and the Eastern Bloc. So they shut down shipping here. I mean, they were ships tied up from one end of the Mississippi to the other, waiting to get loaded. And they was paying $1 million apiece if anybody could clean them. So I came up, I got a great big homemade hydroblasting business and big little board and put it back up there and went to work. And
where did the association with Marcello come in?
He was getting a bribe. I had to pay triple T, and I've had to pay him and all that. I give him 10% to get to work for me.
Okay, yeah, because Dad's FBI, the FBI file when they've been filing Dad for all those years, it goes back to the Marcello's family in the 50s. You know, so it was. I was always under the impression that a lot of the coke that he was bringing in was going to them in New Orleans. Like I don't know what the percentage, but some was going to Miami, and then some was going to the
I don't think that was
Italians.
true.
Okay.
Because it was locked duffel bags, and every one of them duffel bags would have 3 horns or 2 rattlesnakes or whatever, and that was to go. And the guy Lito and Archie would take that and give it to whoever it belonged to, because the coke that was coming up did not belong to Escobar and Ochoa per se. They were brokering it.
Yeah,
they got $10,000 a kilo for every one that
company basically.
They delivered it to Miami for $10,000, and they paid me $5 to do it. So they making $5 just to load the plane down there. And I understand at one time they had 100 tons stacked up. And I said, when you want me to come back? We're waiting on you, senor.
Well, the Italians could have been ordering it through someone in America to get to them. It could have been going.
Well, it was like the guy, the farmer in Colombia, and he's making 10 kilos or 50, and he's got a brother in Minnesota. Well, he wants to get it to him. And so they was so many people says, okay, I'll break it. Oh, look, Minnesota, some busted. That was yours. Bang, bang. 10,000 people a year was being killed in Colombia. So that's when the Ochoas and Escobar and Gacho and the rest of them got together and they said, let's make an insurance company.
Yeah.
And so we will guarantee it to get to your source, to your man in Miami. Because the Minnesota man had to send a man to Miami. We'll guarantee it gets to him. If it gets busted or anything happens to it, anything between here and your man, we will replace it. So they couldn't lose. So, boy, everybody brought it to them. So that's how they had so much.
Yeah, because I know when Dad before he started working with you, for sure, before he got into the coke smuggling, when he was just smuggling marijuana, I think the majority of that was definitely going to the Italians, because when he went to jail before the plane ride where he met you, for them to get him out of jail, my mom says one day somebody knocked on the back door of the house, and when she answered the door, there was a suitcase there full of money, and I think it was $250,000, I believe, that the Italians sent to bribe the officials, for Dad to bribe the officials to get it. So his younger brother, Wendell, Uncle Wendell, he flew down there with the money, and everybody knew Wendell was negotiating. He was tight. He when he gets down there with the $250,000, he negotiates with that's what the government had said they wanted. Wendell negotiates with it and gets them down to like $120,000 for the bribe. So then they have a big chunk of cash left over. So he said every time they'd go to visit my dad, they would come back carrying $9,999 on each person. He said that the feds just couldn't figure out what was going on, because people are always smuggling the money out of America. They're not smuggling it back into America.
That's right.
He's like, and they would stop us, and he said I would count it and make sure it was $1 under the 10,000, so they couldn't stop us. And he said they just could never figure out why are they bringing money back into America and not out. So Dad actually made money on that little stay in the prison.
Oh, good. Yeah, all right. Your dad never talked about his older times at all.
Gotcha.
And I like that.
Okay.
And
y'all didn't swap stories from before that? Y'all just...
Well, we talked, but he didn't...
Well, you didn't swap war stories?
No.
Gotcha.
We didn't have many at that time. We was all young and rush. Just get the job done.
Yeah. Dad had a few.
I had them too, but I think that both of us was about equal,
Just ready to move forward and make some money. How many kids did you have at that time, during this time?
3 children.
Did you have more, or that was the 3 you still had?
No, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were just trying to feed your family and raise your kids and give them the best life they could.
I was crazy. I should have quit.
Well, you're still crazy, but
certified.
A lot of us are.
I should have quit so many times. Good gracious alive!
Yeah,
I
Derek
don't know.
asked me about that. Like, what was his plan? Did you have an out? Did you have a
contingency plan?
Did you have?
Yeah, I started off when I was flying the pod. I was going to make $300,000. I found heck, it was legal. It was like I went to the lawyer with he gave me $10,000, and I shook it on the bed. And my wife put her hand over the mouth. My goodness! Well, that was 2 years' pay. 1973. So I said, that can't be real. So I took $100 and went to a lawyer, and I said, Mr. Lawyer, you're a criminal lawyer. What would happen if I got caught bringing pot back from Mexico in my little airplane? He said, what's your criminal history? I said, I don't have one. He said, traffic? I said, I never had a speeding ticket. He said, you work on the fire department? Yes, sir. He said, you'll get probation, man. If you got the worst judge in the world, you might get a year sentence and spend 4 months raking leaves in a camp. And I thought, I went to another lawyer, asked the same thing, about the same thing. Nobody cared anything about it. So I went and bought me a bigger airplane. Now I make $40,000 a load. Bought me a 207.
What did he say about the cocaine, the kilos?
I knew about that.
Yeah, that's
Well, I'll tell you, I did a little research and talked to a lawyer. And at that time, it was a 5-year sentence, 5-year maximum sentence for bringing cocaine, smuggling sentence. But
How
I didn't.
much? It
Didn't matter. That was maximum.
Gotcha.
But he didn't tell me. They can get you for conspiracy for 5 years. They can get you for bringing it in for 5 years. They can get you for selling it for 5 years. They can get you for thinking about it for 5 years. Then they can charge you with a continuing criminal enterprise like they did me that carries life in prison without parole. I got charged with continuing criminal enterprise.
They charged Dad with it then. They were trying.
I was number 41 ever charged with that terrible crime, and John Gotti was number 42. So I gave up my property, everything.
When they charged Dad, they were trying to give him 3 life sentences. For
Exactly what I was facing, 3 life sentences on that thing. So it's just that 5 years is just a joke, and then it gave me 5 years for each year, for 6 years that I didn't file income tax. That's another 30 years added to it. I was looking at life plus 81 years.
I love the thing I saw you. I think you put it on one of your social medias when you got out of prison. You were standing under a marijuana delivery dispensary sign. You said, "Look, they gave me 30 years in prison for marijuana. I get out of jail now. They just deliver it to your house."
First sign I see coming down the road says "Relax." I got 5 million views on that, and TikTok took it down after a few hours.
I got a good laugh seeing it. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
So who knew Carlos Marcellus first? Was it Mr. Barry knew him before you, or you knew him before?
No, I knew him before. That was years before I met Barry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know Dad had an association with him too, or you?
No, I didn't know anything like that.
I was just focused on.
I was I had a fellow Renee Martin. He was a jolly fella.
I knew
Renee. Yeah, Renee told on me too.
Did he?
Yeah, he called Mari and said, "Roger, tell him, Roger, I didn't want to."
He did 7 years in prison.
Hey, Renee did 7 years in prison.
He's passed away now. He did 7 years. Yeah.
I knew all his 5 daughters and his wife. I used to go to his place.
Did you know his grandson Brady?
I think I did. Brady
He was
little,
about me and
little boy.
Dean's age.
Yeah, I remember something about that name. Yeah.
I met him later in life through a friend, and he said, "Yeah, tell Aaron my dad used to fly with his dad. If I had $1 for every time I heard that, you know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause it's usually not true." And then he said, "Ask me if he knows Renee Martin." I was like, "Yeah, I do know Renee Martin." And Brady said, "Yeah." He said, "I met you and your brother one time at the state fair. My grandpa took me. His grandpa pretty much raised him. Renee brought him to Baton Rouge to go to the state fair, and they met up with me and Dean and my dad, and he sent Brady to play with us, and we just went around and did our thing. I don't know if they were talking business or exchanging money or something that day, which the state fair would have been a good place to do that at. But yeah, Renee ended up doing 7 years. It's a great story how they had an airstrip somewhere. Dad used to let him use airstrips he had if Renee helped him maintenance and stuff. But they had an airstrip somewhere that Renee was using, and he was flying stuff, I believe, for the Italians. So
Renee was?
Yeah,
he didn't even have a license. I don't know where he was going with it.
Well, we had a plane coming in this day.
Is that when he went shooting?
Yeah, no, he did. No, he did. It was the Italians. So what?
Yeah, to scare
the former D agent that was in there.
Yes.
Derek and I, the guy that used to own the walk-ons and the half owner of the walk-ons in Prairieville.
Yep.
So the plane's coming over and Ray's standing on the runway, and the FBI's in the woods, and he doesn't see him. They're all filming and stuff. So as the plane touches down and lands, he's Irish. He starts dancing an Irish jig. The money's here. It made it. The Italians were out there. Some Chicago mafia guys had money in the load, so they were the guy who had the money in the load. He had a guy with him that was wasn't afraid to shoot. So when the feds come running out the bushes for Renee, the second Italian guy in the car, he gets out with 2 pistols and he gets in a gunfight with the feds, and he's trying to shoot his way out of there, and they end up arresting all of them on that. And that's Renee ended up doing 7 years on that charge.
Wow!
And then as this is going on, believe it or not, another plane, someone else, separate operation that was using the runway that the feds didn't know about, Renee and them didn't know him. A plane comes landing, and in the middle of this gunfight after it has, the plane lands, and the guy's got a load of dope, and they arrest him, and I'd have to look his name up now, I don't remember, but he's like a former Major League Baseball player that had retired, and he was flying a load in for his retirement and stumbled upon this scene and gets arrested too.
That's bad luck, man. I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
No hairy hand of fate turns against you, it turns all over. I tell you what, it does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we love
You
Renee.
know that story?
I don't remember that story, but yeah.
The gentleman used to be he's a retired DA agent, and he's the staff
Yeah.
owner of Walk-Ons in Prairieville, and they came out and told us that story when he found out that Barry was my dad. He said, yeah, he said I never really had any loads that I was after that your dad was involved in. I think he said maybe one. He said, but I thought he was hilarious, the way he would taunt the cops and stuff. He's like, I had no problem with it. I thought he was really funny, So,
Yeah, he was funny.
yeah, you don't always hear that from the DA agents or the people that followed it. A lot of the cops like that. A lot of them hated him, but
Yeah.
he was good natured. He was.
Yeah, certainly.
He didn't mean any
Right.
harm.
People just hate for nothing. And they on my media, a lot of them will put stars on. I said, remember that plank in your own eye.
Amen. Amen.
That's right.
And then I tell you, when I was, they talking about my marijuana and my cocaine, how many people did you kill? I said, I didn't kill nobody.
Yeah.
But I said, now, when I was a tobacco farmer,
Yeah.
Right.
plantation owner, and had 100 acres of tobacco, I was killing thousands of people.
Yeah.
And they didn't say nothing. Come on, sit on the front row. Come on up here. You grow 2 marijuana plants. Get out of here, you scumbag.
Right.
It's just propaganda, and it's our politicians, it's our news media that are putting the blame in the wrong places.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you know how many people they claim die from misdiagnosed doctors and pharmaceutical and stuff a year? Just make a guess.
I know it's a lot. I don't know the numbers.
Somewhere between 250,000 to 500,000. More than all the wrecks on the highway. All that is just misdiagnosed medicine. Well, I mean, they can do something about it. How many people die from cancer? How many people die from obesity and stuff? It's talking about millions.
Yeah.
How many died from marijuana?
None. I don't know the numbers, but I'd say sugar is much more deadly than the cocaine ever could be.
Cocaine not deadly by itself. It's just not. You add
diabetes and obesity and sugar.
It is.
It just takes a little longer, but it's much worse for you.
Look at the people. It's a shame that we don't have intelligence enough in our politicians to see the truth. I believe this Mr. Kennedy is up there is looking in some of it too.
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah, I like him.
I do too.
Seems like an honest man.
He's smart. Absolutely. I believe he's from Louisiana too.
Oh, you talking? Okay, you're talking about
Senator Kennedy.
Yeah, what's his first name? He's really funny.
He's smart too, man. I mean, he answers them out so sharp.
John Kennedy. That's John Kennedy.
Is it John?
Yeah, John Kennedy.
Yeah, I didn't know his first name. Just Senator Kennedy. Yeah, I like him. He's my buddy. I like it to look him. He gets them politicians. He twists them in a knot.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I just don't trust too many politicians at all. I try to.
I like Mark Twain. He said, and talking about those liars and politicians, he said, excuse me, folks, I repeat myself.
Yeah, and like talking about politicians, me growing up, they said, I don't know if I even said this yet, but today's the 40th anniversary of Dad's, for the viewers out there, it's the 40th anniversary of Dad's public assassination. He was killed in a display of corruption and power from the local government. And so
that's a fun way of saying it. Nice way of saying it. Trust and power. That's it.
And so I grew up with a strong distaste for authority figures and especially government officials because I saw the corruption. I saw what they would do, and you trust the government too much, you can get your head blown off on the side of the airline highway in Baton Rouge. And Dad trusted people in power that were not honorable men, and that's where he ended up where he was.
Well, you're a Christian and you know the Bible, and I think that we should implement the scripture there where it says that if a man, whether it be a judge, or prosecutor, or neighbor, lies about somebody in court or lies them to get them in trouble, they should receive the same penalty that person would have gotten had he was convicted. Now, that would stop a lot of these prosecutors just farting off. I was in there for marijuana. And that Lane Phillips, he couldn't quit saying heroin. Like, excuse me, heroin. Heroin? I'm in there for possession of marijuana, fool. And you know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So Albert Krieger stood up and he said, I'm from Missouri. Put up or shut up. And old judge put his head down. He almost laughed. He knew.
Yeah.
Knew they shouldn't be able to do that.
Well, another thing I find interesting, the Judge Palazzolo, the one who sentenced Dad to that to be killed over there.
He's the one who killed him.
Yeah, he sentenced him over there intentionally to be killed. I don't know what his reasons were, but it comes out years later. The irony of it is that he was. They said he was an OxyContin addict, a pain pill addict, and that they had vacated on several years of cases at the end of his career because he was hopped up on pills the whole time, and I believe he was having like his maid or something or someone close to him doctor shopping to get more pills for him. Is what allegedly that's what they said. So it's kind of interesting, that the whole time he's sitting there pointing his finger at Dad and what he did, and guys in the business like you, and he's nothing but an opiate addict.
Oh, we had judges. What that Gilbert up in Detroit says, I'm going to give 1 million years to prison before I get off the bench. Some of them are back there with the secretary doing all kind of things, snorting cocaine, and walk out and give you a life sentence. Yeah. It is sick. And I tell you, we ought to there's a whole world needs changing in this prison system and the law enforcement. We don't need that many guns and bulletproof things and slam you upside the wall. And I got off the plane coming back from Australia. They busted my nose into the wire cage. 5 little Mexican border patrol. They put 2 sets of leg irons on me, handcuffed me so hard, they just cut the skin here and walked me 10 steps to get me to the marshals that undid it on, left one set of handcuffs on. Just showing out, just unbelievable. Why? Just because they could.
There wasn't any fentanyl. I guess fentanyl wasn't around back then, but
no.
Who do you think get
out of my face there?
Who do you think started putting the fentanyl in? Like, it's probably not from the Colombians or the Peruvian or whoever.
I don't know anything about that. I just know it's made in China, and we don't say nothing to Mr. China about it. Mr. China's our enemy, and don't you believe they're not, and they're dangerous.
Oh, they're very
got
dangerous.
250 times the industrial complex that we have. That's why we won World War II, is because we had the industrial complex. Now we've shipped it all over there, and they got it. We better be careful, for sure.
Yeah, they're dangerous. They have very good hackers.
Yep. And you don't see bums in the train station there or on the street.
No.
Nothing. You look at it. They build a bridge before we can get a permit to build a bridge.
Building islands,
Exactly.
They're pretty good. I'd be more worried about, I'm more worried about China than Russia, that's for sure.
100 times more, yes. They claim the whole South China Sea right up to the 5 miles of Indonesia is there, or Philippines. That's our land.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like NATO just keeps moving a little bit more and more, getting a little more land. China kind of does the same thing.
They just went over to Tibet and wherever they want to. They just do it, and nobody says anything about them. We'll start a war, but they're going to take Taiwan, I'm sure.
Oh, they're definitely going to try. They already stole the Pinchin Llama, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so when y'all would get paid by Escobar and Ochoa and who not, then y'all would just come drop it off. Did y'all have like a designated landing spot or where to drop it, like a contact here? I know y'all brought it to Miami, but did y'all know the guy you're dropping it off to?
Yeah, they would bring it to me.
Okay.
Now, Barry had 3 different drivers, and they would bring it down and park in different hotel parking lots. And I had 2 people buying cars, and we buy 6 cars a week. And big LTDs are, I forget, Mercury Marquis. They had the big, and then we'd have hydraulic jacks put on the back of them, air jacks, and we put tires on them that couldn't bust.
All right.
And then new hoses. Everything was gone over, and the cars cost about $4,000 up in. We bought them in Tampa in auction because that was a kind of a central tag. It would look good further, and so we bought 6 of those cars a week, and the guy Jerry would get 3 of them, and Barry get 3, and they'd bring them down 100 kilos at a time, and I would all the paperwork was over the sun visor, and we'd hang like a set of big yellow dice or something over the windshield, over the rear view mirror. And so I would know where to go, and then I would tell Lito, okay, go to the Holiday Inn, and it's a blue Ford or whatever, and then they would send a driver there to pick it up. Barry's driver would be there, and I didn't meet him. So that's how we knew it, and it was moving cars every day, just like
Just
that.
leave the keys. Well, I guess you wouldn't leave the keys in the car, but you just hand them the
We'll
keys.
put them there. So no, they were up over the sun visor with the
Okay.
paperwork. And then I said, I want $5,000 for that car. Oh no! And then later on, I said, listen, you can send that car to New York. If it goes to your stash pad, I definitely don't want to ever see it again. If they watching you, they're gonna come straight back to me.
Right.
I don't ever want to see that car again.
Yeah.
So then they'd send the car to Seattle or Los Angeles, and they just pretty soon say, wow, this is all right.
For your personal use, or the ones that
No, for one that your dad was using, and he send the product to.
yeah, you didn't want those back, did you?
I didn't want them back. I didn't want to see them again. No, sir.
Who'd you have buying them for you?
I had my brother-in-law do it, and there was a dealer there from Florida. Both of them, and the two of them was buying cars. That was their full-time jobs.
And when you were living in Miami, was your other pilot Jerry? Was he based in Miami too?
No, he lived in California.
He stayed there the whole time. He never got in any trouble.
No.
With working with you.
I remember though, whenever your dad came out.
His money?
Pardon?
He was able to keep all his money.
Oh man, he spent it like it was water, and mine too. I found out after I was arrested, he gave Mari $800,000, and I thought, now what in the world? He said he'd give her 20%. Yeah, Jerry. So I said, well, and I think he paid for an airplane. He crashed one of them too and lived through it. And I said, what in the world? How did he get $850,000? He's supposed to give me 20% of what he's making, and how did he come up with that? Now, I'm in prison. She's whispering what he did. That's a pretty good little tip, but still, well, what kind of business he had. So when I got out, I went back talking to Mario and Matilda, and they showed me, no, he did 21 trips after you went to prison.
Oh, wow.
He owed me $10 million.
Dang.
Wow.
But he was so thrifty, though, boy. He was with a prostitute there in Las Vegas, and he had a suitcase full of $20 bills, and he had to go somewhere, and he didn't want to get on the airplane with him, so he asked the prostitute, will you hold these, honey, till I get back? Wow. And when he come back, he couldn't find her.
Oh, I'm sure.
Imagine that.
I wish I'd have found
That's part of my money.
Did you ever take Miss Mari on these shopping sprees? Miss Debbie told me once that
she wouldn't go. She wouldn't do it. She's just so frugal. I bought her some jewelry when we were down there, and she liked that.
Really? Wow. She didn't.
She just would not. She just still
enjoying the fruits of your labor.
Not a bit in the world. She just would. Well, we live good. She likes a nice house, and that's it. You give me a home, I'll be happy. I'll cook supper for you and the young'uns and be waiting for you when you get here. But she didn't care for I was over in Milan, Italy. So we like to travel. And I stayed in a nice hotel, but not the highest priced. And there was a dress there in the shop. Boy, that thing was pretty. And I went in there, and I think it was $6,000. Well, $6,000 didn't make no difference to me than $60.
right.
She just thought I'd gone crazy. I ain't about to look at something for $6,000.
She didn't want it. She didn't need it.
No, I wouldn't. She didn't want it. Wouldn't have it.
True love for you. That's gotta make you feel good, though. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't care. It didn't matter. She wants it. She can have it. She don't. She won. I wrote her a check, and it bounced one time. And I said, well, you just take over the checkbook. And I'll see if I can't keep the money in the bank account. So it's up to her. I said, you got the bank account and you got a car. Go get what you want.
That's great.
She doesn't want anything.
My mom accepted Dad's gift. So what was she telling you about the mall?
Yeah, she told me one time they were in Miami and Mr. Barry shut down the mall. I don't know if he shut it down for an hour, but I was like, he shut down the whole mall. He's like, oh yeah, they brought us into the jewelry store, and I said, well what'd you get? He goes, well, get whatever you want. I'll buy the whole store if you want. And I was like, what'd you get? She got like a 4-carat diamond ring, a bunch of other things, flawless. I was like, that's awesome. So I was just wondering if,
No, we didn't do that.
Okay.
We did not. I wish kind of now we had lived a little higher on the hog.
Enjoyed
But we didn't, yeah. And we didn't. I bought things that I could resell. Like I like coins. They were the best investment I had, and we wouldn't have had anything for Murray to live on if I had not have bought coins, because the government got everything else.
Why didn't they take the coins?
They didn't. They didn't know where they were. They didn't know I had them.
I heard you talking about that. You had the most expensive coin in the world.
Oh
yeah.
What
kind of coin was that?
Called a Brasher de Bloom. The thing's worth over $10 million now, 10 or 12 million. Just a little thing size of a quarter.
What'd you pay for it?
$350,000.
Wow.
And they went up sometime 40% a year. Those things did. Bronzes and gold and rare coins. They're probably the best investment other than that I could think of. And you can put it in your pocket. My son put it in his shoe. He's 7 years old and had it in Europe. Had to come back. Of course, Mari's doing search, and he just stood there with it up in on his sock, and came home through. And that's what she ate on for years.
Nice.
Yeah, Mom was also telling him a story one day that he was interested in, that whenever the CIA deported Carlos Marcello and dropped him off in the jungles in
He didn't like that.
what jungle?
Honduras.
Honduras in the jungle. Mom had always heard that Dad was the pilot that flew down there and picked him up and brought him back.
Very well could have been. I just don't know. That was before my time.
Yeah.
I don't even know when it was, but I knew Marcellus in 1975, 76.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a whole conspiracy theory, going on about Oswald, Lee Harvey Oswald, David Ferry, I believe. He's like a CIA director. They all worked for the Civil Air Service, and Mr. Barry Seal worked there at the same time. I trained there. And so the Ferry had connections to Marcello's. And, I told Miss Debbie, I was like, did Mr. Barry go pick up Carlos Marcello's by any chance? And she was like, that's what I heard. I was like, I heard he picked him up in the jungle. And she was like, no, it's on a farm, sweetheart. I was like, okay.
He landed somewhere, yeah. There was nothing to that. That would have been the easier. There was nothing to stop him coming back or anything. That would have been a free run.
And he was one of the top pilots, and if Ferry did know Marcel, so
yeah, could be
possible.
Dad was in the Civil Air Patrol. David Ferry was the director, the director that was connected to the CIA, and Lee Harvey Oswald was a cadet in there with that. That's not just conspiracy. That's actual.
Yeah,
that's
right.
true. And
no conspiracy anymore. What they did to Lee Harvey Oswald, they set him up. He's innocent as you and I. He didn't know what's going on.
yeah.
He went to Russia, and you're going to been to Cuba. You're going to do that. We'll make you the scapegoat.
Take the right patsy.
I was just watching that program. The rifle wasn't even the same. You look at the different ones; it's not even the same thing.
really?
When you order, yeah.
There's a lot of red flags. Yeah.
So they just put him up there. He was walking around kind of lost. He was a smart boy. I believe they said somebody maybe was a Rhodes Scholar, so he's pretty smart boy.
Well, kind of like when Dad was killed, my mom has some crime scene photos that show like what what was left in the hitman's getaway vehicle when they switch cars, and they have like a pack, half smoked pack of cigarettes, like Marlboro Lights or something. They had like a walkie-talkie they were used to communicate on the seat, and they had the machine gun that we were always told, and it was in evidence, and they presented in court that was the machine gun that was used to kill Dad. When I met with one of the hitmen in prison, Bernardo Vasquez, he said, no, that the FBI or somebody, police put that in there, that gun for the pictures. He said, we didn't leave the gun. He said, I took the gun with me. He said, and I brought it back to New Orleans with me, because he made it back to a safe house there. And so what happened was when the feds raided the safe house, he had already went and hid it somewhere. And he said when he got arrested, the lawyer that they hired, he let the lawyer know where the gun was, and that the lawyer went and retrieved it and disposed of it.
Okay. Yeah, they lie something through their teeth. That's how that guy there in Los Angeles got off. And what was it? The ball player? What was it?
Sure.
Anyhow, I can't think of what his name is.
What did he do?
Oh, that huge case out there where the famous ball player killed his wife, cut her throat, and her man's
O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they planted evidence on him. My lawyer was the one found that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found the glove that didn't fit.
Which attorney?
Pardon?
Which attorney was that of yours?
What year?
What attorney?
What?
You said your lawyer?
Yeah, my lawyer was William Janego.
Okay.
Yeah, so he picked up on that, and I had two lawyers that was in it, and was involved in that case.
Good lawyers.
Weitzman, yes, he won the DeLorean case.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Dad was involved with John DeLorean as well.
All right.
Did you know John DeLorean?
He was my cellmate, and I was the one who got him Weitzman as a lawyer.
Okay, what year was that? Was that before you knew?
1982. That was right after.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did Dad meet him from you?
No,
I was always told Dad had dealt with.
I don't think they met. People tell stuff.
Okay.
I could have. I don't know who your dad met, but certainly in the 2 years that I knew him, we didn't know DeLorean. We were busy. People say all different stuff. I don't believe your dad did all that stuff. I said, well, I was seeing him every week, and I don't believe he was. And I was his bodyguard in Las Vegas when he was gambling. As a guy in prison, yeah.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on all the CIA stuff that do you think Dad was involved with them the whole time or to a degree, or do you think he just got involved in later on, or what's your thoughts on that?
I kind of think he was involved with them all the time. I think he knew him from way back yonder, and that they was giving him some protection, same as the governor.
Yeah.
And so he said, I can't get caught in Mena, Arkansas. He didn't want nobody around. I never been to Mena, so he didn't want me up there, and I didn't want to be. So he's
I got my first dog from the airport there.
Did you?
Yeah,
All
my first rescue dog.
Yes, I think it was, and I don't. Of course, it wasn't a CIA quote. It was just some friends of his that was in it.
Yeah.
Maybe he had done some operational work for him behind and before.
Yeah, well, Dad always told Mom that when they first met that he had been involved with the Bay of Pigs invasion, which that was all CIA run. And Mom just thought, oh, this guy's just trying to impress me. She, they had known each other long. She thought he was like.
He probably was. If he
bragging
said
about
he was, your dad didn't lie.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't-
when she first met him, she thought, oh, this guy's just trying to impress me. Until they've been together longer, she realized, okay, this is probably true. So his CIA connections went at least back to that.
Yes.
To the Bay of Pigs. So, and the same guys you see, the CIA operatives involved in the Bay of Pigs, involved in the Air America, smuggling the heroin out of Laos or whatever after Vietnam. It's all the same cast of characters that keep
Yeah,
getting involved in
absolutely.
this stuff.
And I would imagine that your dad, I understand some of those guns was made there in Arkansas, right there close to Mena. Did you know that?
Yes, the documentary I sent you, the Mena Connection, by
Yes,
Terry
uh-huh.
Reed. Terry's he was a lifelong CIA agent, and he was introduced. He said he was introduced to work with Dad by Bill Clinton. He said Governor Clinton introduced me and said you're going to work for Barry Seal, helping train pilots. And he didn't know anything who Barry Seal was. He thought he was just a pilot. He said they worked together and they were friendly. He said he started seeing there's other stuff being shipped around, and he tried to get out of it. And then the government tried to kill him and his wife. They said he stole an airplane. He told me, he's like, I didn't sign up for this. He was a Boy Scout type guy. He's like, I didn't sign up for this, and he tried to leave. And they said him and his wife stole an airplane, and they were to be shot on sight. That they were armed and dangerous, and they fled an RV all over the country for years, and they sued the government and fought them in court cases. They won every case that they brought against them, and he's it's what it is. So he had a machine shop that he was running, helped set up. That's what helps his background to make the guns at. That was
Yes.
one of his operations. Is he was organizing all that, and because they had one company that was a parking meter company was on face, but they were using the parts in that, some of the parts for that for the machine guns they were making, because they were trying to make machine guns with no serial numbers. So if they get caught in the hands of somebody down in South America, it can't be traced back to where it was purchased from or the government. So they were making guns without serial numbers for the Nicaraguan, in the Contra War.
So what year was your daddy? 1940, 1939, 40?
39.
39. So that would have been him. He'd have been about 22, 23 years old at the Bay of Pigs, 1962. I was a little too young for that, but
Yeah, he had his pilot's license at 16, so he was
yes, he could have flown the stuff down to him. I believe that would have been the portion that he would have been doing.
That's what he said he was involved in. He was a resupply guy, I believe.
Wow. We will have some history here.
Oh yeah.
And then that's obviously that's later on in '72, I think it was, before I was born, when Dad gets he loses his commercial pilot's license and gets fired from TWA for smuggling. Got caught with a 747 full of C4 explosives. And because they were flying it to Cuba, to I think to Mexico, then to be shipped to Cuba for someone to plot trying to overthrow Fidel Castro.
Yeah, it was I believe a DC-4.
DC-4
with 4-engine. I think that thing. I wonder if he's gonna fly it by himself. I thought it might need a flight engineer on that. I can fly by myself. You don't need a co-pilot on those planes, but
all the guys he was arrested with in that were Italians from New Orleans, from
yes,
Marcel's people. The FBI was after them, and he got caught up in that deal. And so, I have to believe the CIA put all that together too.
He's been around. Your dad's been around stuff since he was 16. It sounds like
He was always getting into something.
Yeah, he's very talented too, so I'm sure they recruited him.
Yeah, he
At
could.
an early age.
Roger's seen how he can fly.
Yeah.
Tell the fallen leaf story for us.
Oh my goodness! After I met you the first time, little fellow there at the airport here in New Orleans, and I gave Barry the phone number, and he came out in a couple of weeks, and I had a almost brand new Aero Commander, the 690, same kind that Bob Hoover flies a Thrush Commander, very similar to that in the air shows. So I said, "All right, Barry, come on, show me what you can do." Boy, he didn't like when I get in a new, different airplane, I kind of got to look and see where everything is and where the flips and the. He didn't even think about it. Just broke his seat, left, click, 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 zoom, and away we went. I thought, no, he knows. He knows these airplanes here. This one anyhow. And we got up there about 10,000 feet, and all right. And boy, he just went to doing aerobatics, and I don't like aerobatics. I get seasick from it. He was up in the Emberlin, turned this way and that way. It was smooth. And I said, all right, that's enough. That's enough. So we come back down, and he cut the engines and did it, stalling it from side to side, like the falling leaf, just like Bob Hoover does in the air show. It hits the ground almost, just stops. I said, all right, you can fly for me. I'll ride anywhere with you. Yes. Certainly that was, so he took the airplane away and went to Mean, Arkansas, and had it tanked. He said, I got a place in Mean, Arkansas that'll tank this thing, keep their mouth shut. So I gave him $10,000, and he flew away. Wasn't long before he called me, said, come on back. And that's when I went to your house and stayed a few days there. Yeah.
Did you stay at our house, or you stayed in a hotel when you were in town?
I don't remember, but I was certainly at your house and eating. I remember going up there, and upstairs in that room was kind of an office up there.
The loft, the office, yeah, Dad's office, yeah.
I remember that well. I probably stayed in a hotel.
Gotcha. Let's see. What's some of the stories I wanted to hear him tell again? I'm not sure if I heard this from someone else. The pilot Jerry, he was a big guy like Dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't after Dad had when you were smuggling again after Dad had been arrested? So Jerry was coming down there, and they had to protect him in Colombia because they were scared the Colombians didn't want somebody to think that it was Barry, it was my dad.
I don't know anything about that. Okay. I know Jerry kept on working. Yeah. So, yeah.
And after you went to jail, he never got busted after that. Why
he never got busted with this, and
he was dealing straight with Ochoa and them still.
Yeah.
After you went to prison.
And whenever your dad came out and talked to me in that restaurant that night, he just put his hands over his eyes, and the tears came to me. So I just couldn't do it, Roger. Make me 3 life sentences. I've told him, but you under my umbrella. So I had Jake. Jake was on the DEA agent, and I liked him. I'd have a drink with him now if I saw him. And he came over to the table, and he said, told me what they wanted. And he says, you got to go before grand jury and tell them everything. And says, we got to have the name of the man in California that's flying too. Mm-hmm. So, boy, I was just like, they want Jerry, because the Colombians was pitting Jerry and Barry against one another. Okay. He done more. Come on, they was wanting more.
Just friendly competition.
Yeah, they was doing it. So they knew about each other, but they didn't know who each other was. Yeah. So I went to Jerry's house that night, and he came out, and I just vomit and vomit and vomit.
I'm sure.
And Jerry said, "What you gonna do, Roger?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I ain't ever gonna tell on you, Jerry. They can cut my tongue out. I won't tell." And so he wasn't worried about it. So then I went on down there and I escaped to Brazil, so I wouldn't have to tell.
How long were y'all on the run for after that?
Oh my goodness, that was in '85, and I got arrested in Spain in '88, so I got 3 or 4 years.
What happened in Spain?
Oh, I started working with this guy Howard Marks. Wrote him up, Mr. Nice, and he turned me in. He didn't want to pay me either.
He turned you in just so he didn't have to pay you? That's a dirty trick.
Yes. He died bad. They said he suffered real bad liver disease.
What were you flying for him?
I wasn't. We did some big loads. We did a load out of Pakistan, did 10 tons of hashish, and then another
How were y'all transporting it?
Bought us one of those fishing boats out of Alaska, one of those crabbers. That thing would run upside down, 130 feet.
From airplane pilot to boat.
Yeah, and then went to Thailand and got 20 tons of Thai weed and brought it back to British Columbia. Then we hauled hashish out of Pakistan, and I met the boat in British Columbia with a Cessna 206 on floats and flew it down to Washington State on a lake down there. So I've had some fun up there. Yes, sir.
And so when he turned you in to not have to pay you, you went to prison for how long?
Yeah, good Lord, I got 9 years in Germany, and I escaped, and then they gave me 11 years for parole violation in the United States. for the escapes. I escaped from the Metropolitan Detention Center, and I escaped from Spain, and I escaped from Germany, and I escaped in the airport in Holland when they was taking me through. So they give me 5 different escapes, and for the hashish in Europe, they give me 5 years, so they made me do 132 months in maximum security for parole violation. It's the longest in world history, the longest in U.S. history for sure.
When you had all these escapes, were they all? Did you pre-plan all these out, or was it just spur of the moment when you saw an opportunity, or did you have it the whole time you were there? Were you plotting a way to get out?
It wasn't a minute hardly come by that I wasn't looking for a way out. So when it happened, I'd do it.
Gotcha.
On the Germany, I planned it, but in Spain, I didn't. I jumped out the window of the courtroom, kicked it out, 31 feet above the street, and jumped on top of a car, exploded. And I got away handcuffed. I still got a dead spot in my back where I got nerve damage.
How'd you get the handcuffs off?
Pardon?
How'd you get the handcuffs off?
I went to a gas station and they cut them off. And my wife
off
put
them?
these on here.
Yeah, your wife put them. That's pretty good.
So, and then Holland, I guess that was one of the better ones too. I came up, Howard Marks, the one that didn't want to pay me, said to go to Amsterdam to the train station and get your money. Here's a brand new British passport. So, boy, when that guy looked at it, he said, "Is this your passport, sir?" I said, "Yes." He reached up and he closed. And he come around, he's a big fella, grabbed me by the arm hard, like way too hard. "Come with me." So we went into a room, and there was a lot of people in there from India, 7, 8 men with the turbans on their head, and there was agents all around there with the computers working. And he turned, he said, "Sit there." He's by the door. And he put my passport and a clip up on the computer. And when he did, I opened that door, and I went through that crowd. I was slinging people going this way and that way and the other. And then there was a little room there, and I went in, and I realized I was holding some books I'd bought, and I threw them out on the floor. And there was a little window there, and I opened it, I crawled up, and I was in another corridor there at the Schiphol Airport, International Airport. And it was long, and nobody in it. And I ran as hard as I could to the end of it, and it had a big elevator there with stainless steel. And I pushed the button, and zip, and I pushed it down, zip, went right down, and it was a pilot's lounge. And there was a KLM pilot with 4 stripes on it. I put that big jacket on, and I put his cap on over my coat. Still didn't fit. And then there was a group of people going out, like 20 people from one of them planes. Those 747s lined up there like pigs to the tit all the way around that spot. So I got behind those people, and we went a long way. I was just walking right with them. And then they got up there, and every one of them was showing their card as they came up to the gate, and they had two armed guards there. Now, whoops, that won't work. Mm-hmm. And so I went back towards the terminal, and I thought, get in the dumpster. I said, they got my picture. They're going to look everywhere here for me. So there was a fence there. I guess it was a 10-foot chain link fence with a wire on both sides. I was in pretty good shape then, so I climbed up that thing right at the building and pulled myself up on that barbed wire and got on top of it and jumped down on the shrubbery on the other side. And there was two policemen from the airport, and they had a little blue van, and they had their pistol out. "Halt, halt," right under me. "Halt, halt." It just made me go faster. And I jumped down into that shrubbery. It was about knee deep, and it was like the crown of thorns. It had thorns on it that long, real hard, brittle. They just tore my legs up, pants and all. I couldn't move. I'm telling you what, if you're going to be shot or burned, you couldn't move there. So I took that coat off, and I put it in front of him, and I stomped those bushes down, and picked the coat up, and the road went under the airport there at Schiphol, and I walked across that between the traffic, and there was 4 policemen, 2 women and 2 men on the other side. I walked right by them, walked right back inside the where there was 500 people waiting on this side of the glass where I'd just been on the other for their family. Uh-huh. And I got lost in that crowd and went down on the escalator. It's a narrow train. They had one going really nice bullet-looking trains, one to Amsterdam, one to Rotterdam. I said, he's told him I'm going to Amsterdam, so I'm going to go to Rotterdam. I got in there, and there was nobody there, and it was a while before I went into a brand-new bathroom in a brand-new train, and I turned that little thing. It went, closed that air door, and I said, my feelings exactly. So I got away from that one. It was just like that.
And what year was this, roughly?
88.
Yeah, so in 85 is when you went on the run, basically. Uh-huh. What year did you go to prison for the Australia thing?
2001.
2001. So 15, 16 years you were basically just y'all were on the run.
No, I went in 82, and I got out in 84.
Okay.
And then I was out. That's when I went to Brazil. And then to Spain and lived in France and Spain. And I was arrested in 88, and I got out in 90. I escaped from the German prison, and they caught me a year later here in California, and they gave me 11 years parole violation, but they give me the 2.5 years that I had spent in Europe. So it was about 8 years something that I spent in Lompoc Maximum. Then they chained me up and sent me back to Germany. And that took me 6 months to prove that I'd done 11 years for where you give me a 8-year sentence. And they let me out on the streets of Germany. They didn't apologize, but they came close to it.
So when you go to Australia for that deal, you had you didn't have any legal, you didn't have any legal.
Still had that
You still
20 years of parole hanging over me, and if they'd have caught me, they'd put me back in because I didn't report. They was after me
so you're
because I
basically
wouldn't
on
talk.
the run for 15 years, for the most.
Yeah,
part.
certainly.
The cops wanted you somewhere for
Yeah,
something.
and I don't tell you that they came in. I've been in 3 times with the prosecutor, with the DEA agents, and say, we'll take you out today. We just need you to go right down here to the courthouse. Well, give me another one of them tater chips over in a Coca-Cola. Maybe I can talk in a little while.
was the Australia thing, was that, were you just looking, okay, one last nice payday, and you had planned to get out, or were you just going to continue, you had planned to continue just going?
No, they offered me $20 million, and that would have been enough.
That was, you were going to retire, basically.
Yeah, certainly.
And that was just to unload a boat, right?
No, I took it there. I bought a boat down here in Houma, close to it, and a big old.
Where'd you buy it from?
Close to Houma.
Houma, Louisiana?
Yeah.
Shout out Houma.
One of those offshore oil rigs, offshore supply vessels, belonged to Exxon.
Okay. And
they kept it up here. You could eat off the floor, but when they get 40 years old, they can't get insurance. That thing was spitting brand new looking. That thing was all right. So I took that thing. I'd never been on it before in my life. And whenever I give them the money, they fled. I wouldn't nobody tell me how to do nothing. So I had Maury on there with me. We're on up down the canal trying to figure out how to make that thing work. I took off, went around the world with it. Went down around the Southern Ocean, down by Antarctica, and went on up into Australia and unloaded a $400 million worth of cocaine. Got caught. The unloader met me with a whole bunch of federal police. Bunch of snitches.
He set you up, or he was just being watched?
He was the brother of the owner, and he had a guy over here real smart. He just got out of a 5-ton deal. Of course, he was working with the
guy in Australia.
No, the Colombian. There was one good guy and one bad guy.
Gotcha.
So they brought it. They brought the heat on, and so I got a life sentence. First off, I got 25 years. I said, I just driving the boat from one place and the other, man. I knew what was on it, but I just didn't. And so then this fella on there, and I testified. He took it to court, said he didn't know what was on there. And I said, he didn't know. I told him I was going to sell the boat in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And so he won his case, and he went home. And the prosecutor appealed my sentence, and they raised me to life in prison. So, and they had me in a place like the Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, that's the last I'd heard Mom really talk about you, that she was saying that you'd gotten life in Australia. I didn't think you were ever getting out. I didn't think I'd ever get the chance to meet you.
Jimmy Carter wrote a letter. President Jimmy Carter wrote a letter and helped me get out.
I heard you tell that story. He was your neighbor in Georgia? Next door? Or
no, we had a farm with a couple of miles from there.
Your family, friends?
Yeah, I knew his family. I didn't know him.
I hadn't mentioned this to you, but I found this out not long ago. I have a cousin, Larry Seal, who's from Mississippi, where Dad's people from originally, and he does like family genealogy for hobby. And he sent me something when President Carter passed away. It turns out Jimmy Carter is my 6th half cousin.
Oh my goodness! All right.
So
Jimmy Carter's a wonderful man. I don't care that he did get me out of prison, but he was treated really, really badly. I mean, did you know that George Bush flew 3 times to Paris to meet with the Ayatollah to keep the hostages in Iran so that Carter would lose the election?
Yeah.
For sure that they did him bad.
Yeah, I think he was a good man.
Of course he was a good man, Christian man. We don't have people like that up there much. But they can't stand it when you won't play ball with them.
I know he spent a lot of time at the end of when he retired at the little Baptist church that he attended up where he lives. Mm-hmm. He would anybody that wanted to come out and get a book signed or a picture taken with him, as long as they came to the church service, he'd meet with them after, no matter how, if it was 5 people or 500. He'd stand there and take pictures, talk to everybody, and sign them. That was his way to get people to come to church, which I thought that's a pretty
Wonderful.
pretty great way to use your notoriety and celebrity to
I'd have went there,
try to
thought about
advance
it.
the cause of Christ. Yeah,
Yeah, he taught Sunday school.
yeah.
Hmm
Yeah.
Now tell us about when your daddy's phone number and answer about George W. Bush.
That's a story I've always been told from my mother. It was
I have
true.
too.
And I was 9 years old when he was killed, so I didn't see this, but it was in his wallet when he was killed.
Yes.
It was George Bush's. The George Bush one. The vice president at the time. He had his phone number in Dad's. It was in Dad's wallet, and somehow the feds missed that whenever they took everything. Because when Dad was killed, the feds descended on the Salvation Army and wanted to remove all the contents of his trunk because Dad kept all his files and all the stuff he had on people, and just anything that he needed to protect he had in the trunk of his car so he could take it with him wherever he went during that time. And feds came in, took everything out the vehicle, and they were saying they were taking it and they'd process it and give it back. And the state police were like, well, this is our crime scene. We're going to go through it. We're going to handle everything, and then we'll give it to you when we're done. Look what y'all want to find in there. And the feds said, no, we're taking it with us. And they had a confrontation over it to where, and the state police acquiesced and let them take it. And when the lieutenant or whatever commander of the state police was asked, well, why'd you do that? It was your crime scene. He said, well, they were serious about taking it, and I'd have had to have my deputies draw their revolvers, draw their service weapons against the feds, and I wasn't prepared to do that. And so they took everything out. We got very few things back, and the one thing they missed was the Vice President George Bush's phone number. I got Dad's Bible that he had on the dashboard of his car the day he was killed. He kept his Bible with him. It was blood stained from the blood and guts that they shot him up with. But
Wow.
I found that in some of my mom's stuff, and I didn't know his dad even had a Bible then. So I took that and opened it up. And he had one scripture circled in the entire Bible. The whole thing was no touch it, but he had Romans 8:28 circled, that where we know that all things work together for good to those who love God and who are called according to His purpose. And that's what started me in my spiritual journey. It was one of the things that we read.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know that.
They didn't want to give it back at first. And Uncle Wendell went up there and raised hell. That's part of a crime. We're keeping. He says, the man's freaking Bible I want to give to his widowed wife and the kids. And he used some curse words, but Wendell eventually got him to give the Bible back. And so.
There's some assholes. I'm telling you what, thoroughbred.
Yeah, a lot of them are.
They aren't all, but there's enough of them to.
I've had more bad experiences than good, but I've had some.
You better if they come to see you, don't say a word, nothing, no matter what. You bring your diamonds and money. Don't open your mouth.
Everybody out there listening, that's some great legal advice from Mr. Roger Reaves.
They will lie about what you said. They'll twist it around.
So we can close some prayer.
Say, hold hands, man. Hold hands with you. Almighty Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord. We just thank you that the three of us can be here in accord with you, and to thank you, Lord. We just thank you for all your many blessings. We thank you for our lives. We thank you for our loved ones. We thank you for Barry and his spirit, Lord.
Yes.
If you have a message to give it to him, send him our love, Lord.
Amen.
We just thank you, Lord, and we just ask you to give us wisdom to make the right decisions, Lord.
Yes.
We ask you we have victory over the evil one in our
Yes.
lives, Lord. We ask you to open the gates to your kingdom. It's open, I know, Lord, at the end of this life, and we'll know one another there and have such a great reunion, Lord. We just thank you, Lord, and praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.